Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is a full review of Lune Feline by Atelier. This was very kindly given to me at Essence. It's the only bottle that I accepted at Essence. I really don't like accepting free bottles in general most of the time because I usually don't like a fragrance enough I would feel guilty taking it for free because I don't really connect with it that much and don't particularly enjoy it, so to speak. So I have a kind of a guilt there of accepting things. That's the honest truth. But in this case, I smelled this one and I was like, oh, this is really good. And it was offered to me for review. So because I liked it, I said yes. So this was free for review, just to be completely transparent and clear on that. But like I say, the only one that I took from Essence. And this one is based around vanilla, but it's not a typical gourmand vanilla. It's not cookies, it's not ice cream, it's not, you know, foodie kind of vanilla. This relies, at least in the opening, quite heavily on resins. There's Styrax and there's Peru Balsam in here. Peru Balsam kind of has almost a suede leather kind of thick, slightly rubbery, kind of dark, sticky kind of tonality. Styrax and the combination of the two kind of have, with the added vanilla beneath that, gives it this kind of slightly dark, sticky, balsamic, thick kind of, almost quite dry kind of a scent that's really, the resins are popping, but that's introduced with spices, and the spices are a big element for me in the top. I get a lot of cardamom. That screams to me the most in the opening. Cardamom has a slight sweetness, but it's kind of, I always describe it as being slightly a fresh spice. It has a cooling freshness. If you've ever drunk something like cardamom tea or you've used cardamom in cooking, you'll know exactly what I mean by that when I say it has kind of a fresh, bright kind of quality to it. So you have this kind of cooling freshness from the cardamom mixing with these thick, dark, sticky, leathery-like, almost smoked resins of the Styrax and the Peru Balsam, with an underlining note of vanilla that's not, like I say, not gourmand. It doesn't smell like food. It's just underneath, giving a little bit of sweetness, but not too much, to these resins and spices. But the spices are like there's a duality there because there's also a bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon is kind of the opposite to cardamom in the sense that cinnamon is hot. So you get this warm hotness of cinnamon with this cooling freshness of cardamom. For me personally, the cardamom is on the top, cinnamon is below in the opening top notes. Like I say, wrapped up with resins and underlining that, the vanilla. It does have a dryness. It's noticeably spiced, it's noticeably dark, it's noticeably resinous and kind of sticky and thick. Very interesting opening. As it starts to dry down, it gets a little bit mellower, those spices tone down, the cardamom burns off more as a top note, the cinnamon lingers a little bit longer. During the middle phase of this, I get more woods coming through, noticeably kind of woody. Not specifically specific in the woods, kind of cedarish. It's kind of more of a darker, kind of woody, kind of grainy that you might associate with something like Texas cedar or Virginian cedar. But it's kind of coated with these soft, smooth resins that make it a little bit kind of leathery and, like I say, sticky and balsamic, but still with the vanillic undertone. But you definitely notice a noticeable kind of a woody dose in the middle of this, combining with the resins. So the opening, you're going to get combination of cool and hot spice plus the resins plus the vanilla. As it dries down, the woods are going to amp up. You're gonna smell, you know, this kind of a mixture of woodiness and balsamic resins. In the end of the dry down, you can expect it to get a little bit muskier. But I find that the Peru Balsam specifically, I can't speak, does linger on right to the very end of the dry down. You get that kind of thick, it's really hard to describe how Peru Balsam kind of smells. I don't like using the word balsamic, it's thick, it's slightly maybe leathery in a way. It's not quite sweet in the sense that other resins are sweet, like benzoin, for example, or labdanum. Those have an inherent sweetness. Peru balsam is kind of a little bit more void of sweetness, but you get that thick, you can imagine like a really thick treacle almost, but without the sweetness, and a kind of a little bit leathery. But you get that in the dry down with kind of a general soft kind of vanillic musk. So there you go. The whole scent in general is quite likable. I think this has more of a mass appeal, although some might find the opening mid stages a little bit too bold for them. I actually got I don't talk about compliments on this channel, but I did get an unsolicited compliment, although from family. Yeah, this was noticed. Basically, when you spray this, also I noticed in the first hour, I find it projects and leaves really good sillage, where it will you will feel it lingering in all the rooms in the house that you're in. It does kind of travel in the air and leaves a nice scent trail. Bringing me on to the performance, I get around 8 hours on my skin, 7 to 8 hours longevity. Projection is kind of beastly in the first, basically when you first spray it, it does travel through all the rooms. But in general, it does sit closer to the skin after that. But it does leave a really nice sillage in the first 2 hours, and I can smell it quite easily around me in the first 2 hours. So the performance in terms of that is good. It sits closer to the skin after that as more of a kind of a skin scent after a kind of the 3-4 hour mark, and fades out as a soft skin scent around 7 to 8. So the performance is quite good. I would say it's completely unisex. I think the spices and the woodiness and the darkness of the resins help a man pull it off, but it by no means does that exclude women from wearing this. I think it would smell fantastic on a woman. So completely unisex, and colder weather, as you would expect from this kind of scent, is autumn, winter. Could be, I would say, more leaning on the night time, but wherever you want to wear it, I think it smells really good. The dry down might lose your interest a little bit, just being kind of a more generalized musky vanilla, but the opening top notes in the midsection is quite something, and interesting vanilla fragrance without being gourmand and edible. So an interesting take on vanilla. That's it. That's my full review on Lune Feline. If you tried it, let me know. It does have gold flakes in the bottle. Whenever I pick it up, I kind of have to rotate it around and kind of watch the flakes go by. So cool presentation there, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time.